The Harvester is a tool which can be used in the early stages of a penetration test to gather information on a company or a domain. If you're using Kali Linux or something similar, you'll have this tool installed already. If not, you can go to the GitHub and install it from here, or you can just go and have a look at the README as well here. So there's a little bit more information about the tool. We can see that it gathers emails, names, subdomains, IPs, and URLs using public data sources that include, and then we've got a list of passive data sources here, so things like search engines and social media sites like LinkedIn and things like that. And then we have a couple of active sources as well. So there's a DNS brute force option, and there's an option to take screenshots of subdomains. Some of the modules require an API key, so you'll need to create accounts. For example, like GitHub, Shodan, you'd need to create an account, you'd need to get a copy of your API key, and then you'd need to set up the Harvester to use the API keys as described here. But just for going to test this out, there's plenty of sources that don't require an API key, so we can go and have a look at those. So if we're running the Harvester, there's a couple of flags that we'll need to provide here. One is the domain flag, so -d, and that will be the company name or the domain that we want to search. So what's the target? Let's say that Microsoft have hired us to do a pen test, and we're doing some information gathering to begin with. So as long as we don't specify the active options, being the screenshot or the DNS brute, everything that we run will be passive. We might want to limit the results as well, so to speed things up, let's say we want to limit it to 200 results, and then finally we want to specify our source. So what source do we want to search for here? In this case, let's say LinkedIn. We might want to try and identify it through any system administrators or sysadmins who are working at Microsoft who maybe talk on LinkedIn about what kind of software and hardware they're using, and that can help us later on during a pen test in terms of narrowing down what services we want to enumerate. Note that it didn't bring back any results for us there. It did work for me earlier doing this with Microsoft, the same command. We can try it with Queens, and I don't believe it'll work either. I think this is due to Google limiting requests from as far as I can tell. So in that, try this yourself. You should find that if you've not run the command already, it should bring back, in this case, the list of names and then the roles as well that they work at. So in that case, it should bring back here a list of probably students and staff, and then what their job title is as well. So try that yourself and see if that works. We could try some other sources. Presumably not all of this will use Google. I'm assuming what they're doing there is they're using Google to search for LinkedIn results, and then they're taking it from there. So if we were to try and specify instead, let's say DuckDuckGo, which you would like to think isn't using Google to search. Okay, so that comes back, yeah. So it looks like Google's probably limiting the results. So we're able to bring back some hosts by searching DuckDuckGo. We have some other things here. Note that we have the sublister option as well, which is another tool that we tested out previously. Some of these will require an API key like census, so we won't be able to use those. But you can play around with some of these different options and see which ones work for you.